Hi, so I've been studying human-computer interaction for a long time, and more recently I'm turning my eye to human data interaction. And when I say data, I mean all of the data about you as a consumer that is collected from devices and services, or the data that you're collecting as developers from people. And if you take one thing away from this talk, I want you to just ask yourselves, why? Why is the data being collected? Why are you collecting the data? For what purpose? Because I think one of the things we need as data scientists is to be clear about the data we're collecting. Now, I've worked with data scientists and designers to build recommendation algorithms for merchandising, quite positive. I'm now working with privacy and safety experts to worry about some of the concerns people have. And the piece down the middle is visibility. And so even in corporations, we don't always have visibility into the reasons why we collect data, and consumers certainly don't, and that causes anxiety. And when you talk to people about data collection, they often think about surveillance. Now, surveillance evokes the idea of the collection of data for a particular purpose. And as we move into this new world, though, of the Internet of Things and smart cities and smart homes, a lot of sensor data is being collected with no particular purpose in mind. Back to the question, why? Because we can, just because we can, because it might be useful perhaps, because we haven't thought about not doing it. Now, data science is in its infancy, and it's a fetish object, it's a fetish topic. Everyone loves data science. But we're at the beginning of understanding what we should collect and what we're not collecting, as well as what we are collecting. So it's not surprising that as consumers and those concerned about data, sousveillance, or the watched watching the watchers, is becoming increasingly something we're interested in. We're asking questions about why. Now, I've done a series of interviews with people about their concerns about data, and it isn't black or white. Unlike my slides, it's about wanting a contract and a conversation. It's about wanting to participate, wanting visibility. Now, a friend of mine, when she found out she was pregnant, decided that she did not want to be tracked about her pregnancy. So she used incognito mode for searches. She bought nothing online. She didn't talk on social media about her pregnancy. She took efforts to opt out, including paying for large objects like prams with cash and gift cards rather than credit cards. Now, nothing wrong with that, but what was wrong with the model in the data model? It flagged her as a potential criminal. It flagged her as fraudulent, potentially, so she had to unravel that. Data science is in its infancy, and our predictive models about what people's intent or actions are not always right. So what we're doing, if we're not careful, is creating a climate of lack of trust. And what that means is people may potentially walk away from our services and devices because we're not including them and thinking hard about this. And so, again, ask why you're collecting data, ask what models you're building, ask what data you're not collecting in order to build a better model, a more rounded model, and think about why not participation. Now, I mentioned to my friend, and one of the big issues I think we need to think about is meaningful opt-in and opt-out. What does it mean to let people choose to opt out of data collection? In the EU, this is becoming increasingly a big issue, and a regulation is about to pass. Also about deletion, the right to be forgotten. Data science is in its infancy. We don't yet understand how the statistical models we buy will cope with the removal of data. So deletion is a really interesting technical problem. I've mentioned forecasting. Intent modeling and forecast modeling is clearly beneficial in many, many, many instances, but we have to not just take them, the forecasts as given, we have to ask why and what, and we have to come with the primary premise as building trust and collaboration with people on whose data we're collecting. We should start with models of trust first, and then think about where we're going forward. So I just want to sum up the things I've been thinking about. Asking why, meaningful opt-in, opt-out. What does it mean to delete? What are the forecast models of the future, and how can we forecast what data we're collecting that's artifactual? How will it be used? And build on trust. So I want to think about you talking to me about human data interaction from your perspective. Thank you.
How you doing?